What are the objectives today? The objectives are to understand the project. Yeah, what are we talking about? Where are we coming from? I think that's first, to understand where we're coming from is most important for you. Us being the customers, you understand us then. What do we mean with the PCP process? And we want to talk with you, obviously, about the R&D solutions. If you have already opinions, questions to share, please do so. Then we might reflect on what we think is relevant or not relevant. And through participation today, but the action on the matchmaking platform, we want to help you building partnerships for upcoming consortia. The agenda, a brief introduction, really like a top-level introduction to the project and the instrument, and then in more detail, the project and then the instruments with opportunity for questions, and obviously the next steps for you, for us, for the project as a whole. So first, what are we, the project? The project is first and foremost the cities, the procurers, the green blocks who have a common challenge. Challenge is to transition towards a circular economy, but are limited in the ways to be described. They are going to invest money provided by the European Commission for a solution. The cities are truly representative of the leading cutting-edge circular cities and regions in Europe. Yeah, obviously there are a few others who are very, very good, and they're not. The consortium had to be closed at some point, but they are very good, so they know what they're talking about. And if they say they have a problem, then you know a solution is needed and wanted. And this is already so that even without us having complete specs, we already have quite a few follower cities or preferred partners, as you call them, including Amsterdam, Bonn, and many more, which will appear soon on our website. They like our horizontal approach to the problem and hopefully the solutions coming from you. The project is supported by RISE, a research institute very established in circular economy, Tages and Empirica. And yeah, the investment is 5.64 million. Yeah? We are a new project, so normally this is a closed shop. The PCP is different. In the PCP, the project, are launching a tender to hand out money for others to develop the solution. We are responsible for the problem and reflecting on the solutions. You would be responsible for developing the solutions and showing us the best way to do it. To high level, super high level, yeah. Our view on circular economy. Yeah. Basically, for our green goals, we need sustainability, and there are many transitions which we need to accomplish to get there. And they have various degrees of complexity and a various number of people to be involved. Yeah. Electricity is on grid level super complex, but on technology level actually not. Yeah. Any country which really wants to can jump 20% renewable energy share within a year. They just need to spend the money. It's an upgrade of the electricity grid. Then mobility, it is a substitution process. Yeah? We take fossils away and put e-cars there. Now that the companies are transitioning, the supply is there, the demand will follow, and at some point the fossil cars fade out. When it comes to heat, it's much more complex because every building is different. And although the technology is in principle there, it is it is challenging to approach many different building owners, organizing it, permits, all this stuff. Yeah, this is the topic of another project from us, Procurement, also PCP. But the ultimate challenge is circular economy. Yeah? I mean, humanity was once circular until the combustion engine came. Then it was easy to smash stuff and simply throw it away. Before, we were much more mindful of our resources, and we need to get there again. And for this, many people need to change. Many people need to change the way they think about consuming, about using, about reusing it. And hence, it is a transformational change, I would say, similar to digitization. It is simply our working program needs to be rewritten. Now, the cities you've seen who are represented in this project want to transition to circular economy. They are good at it. They have success, and they're progressing, but they are limited. Yeah? For one, capacity is a problem. There's Circular Berlin with us, or Re-London with us. They have a dedicated department, specialized people who work on it, but it's just a few. And the city organization is huge. It can be 10,000s, depending on the size of the city. And a bunch of people cannot go to all of these municipal staff and tell them, if you do this way or the other, then you are circular. You can create impact and whatever, but they need tools. Similarly, even provided a city is super circular and knows what it wants to do, by itself, it cannot do much because it needs local suppliers who are able to deliver what is required. Yeah, because I cannot suddenly demand something circular from a linear supplier. The supplier as well needs to change. So the local economies need also to adapt, and they again obviously need some sort of support. Then there's the issue of information. We are living in a age where solutions are quickly developed, they're quickly available, but the status changes all the time. And keeping up to date is hard, we all know it. And for this, we need a tool which kind of makes good information available, provides some form of analysis, not to the last degree, but on a certain level, which is right for a person to understand, given what the person knows. And this should not only happen on national level, because currently this exercise is almost exclusively only done on national level. It needs to happen elsewhere. If Portugal is good in something, why should not Germany adapt it? Vice versa and all across. And we have an operational problem, which has already been implied, in that municipal staff obviously needs to change. They need to work differently with their they need to approach their daily tasks differently, think about circularity principles from the beginning, and this means the ability to do so and support to do so. A key element of this is that the person are confident that they're doing the right thing, because as anyone in a job, if you don't know what you do what you know. And to give them confidence, you need to give them structure, you need to give them context, and you need to give them some form of guidance. Again, you could put a person next to him, to her, and explain all of this, or you could use a tool which we desire. So we want a platform which uses AI and uses taxonomies. I come to this later, sorry, to support cities, the civil servants in it, and the local businesses in the local economy of the city to transition to the circular economy. Circular economy, if you know that, then you don't need the slide. If you don't know much about circular economy, it is enough for the moment to basically understand the basic concepts behind it. Ultimately, right now, we are buying stuff, we are using it, and sometimes we recycle it, but otherwise it goes to landfill. This cannot remain. And there are multiple ways, so-called R strategies. This is a standard set of strategies which you could do to be circular. You could refuse, you could rethink, you can reduce. Yeah. So basically, don't use is obviously the optimal outcome. Then you don't have utilized embedded carbon materials and so on. But sometimes, obviously, it's not possible. You need to buy and so on. But maybe you can reuse something you already have, or you can repair something you already own, and so on. And if you have to use, then maybe you should already consider what you could do with it in the future for any of these circles. However, excuse me, the application of any of these strategies can be easy, hard, or impossible. Yeah, it depends in context. It depends really on the city. Whether, let's say, there are certain suppliers locally, whether the city is already advanced enough to do so, whether I, as a user, understand it. Yeah, it could be that two people with the same role in a city of the similar size can do something or cannot do something simply because of the local circumstances. So, excuse me, it seems to be a pattern recently. Excuse me, it's something with the weather. When I speak for longer, it happens. Okay, so I, as a responsible municipal staff, need to consider more, and I need help for that. We need help. We need your help to build this tool. Regarding the instrument, now we've come from where we're coming from, the issues we have, circular economy, and now the instrument with which we are implementing this project. It is a pre-commercial procurement, so obviously it is something which is not yet on the market, which means it needs to be developed, which means it is an R&D effort. For you, the benefit is that you get leadership into a new market. We know, because we've done a lot of research, what we desire does not exist, but we also reflect the demand for it. We already put 8 cities together, and we will put more cities together as followers. They want it, they need it. We want to innovate, and we do so in stages. We don't expect that somebody comes with the turnkey solution the next minute, because it is a complicated problem. It is a horizontal problem, which by default is more complicated because you need to, you cannot just optimize something. You need to really rethink certain elements of how to approach things, and obviously these things need to fit together with those who require it. But through the stages, we can advance with the solution, and you will be able to test it in real world conditions. You will be testing it with the cities. You will not be just going in a lab and to find out later this doesn't work. We will be with you throughout the process to advance your solution. The entire model, the concept is very different from traditional procurement in that you are going to keep your IPR, provided you act on it. Yeah, I mean, I explain this in later, but normally in a tender process, in a public tender, anything which is developed falls over to the one who procures. In this case, it's not. You can retain the ownership and make a commercial product of it, which we want, because we want it to last and to be there in the future. Obviously, we will also promote your solution and make it visible on the EU level. Already today, we are in the European Sustainability Week. We were accepted, and I believe this would happen as soon as we have solutions also in the policy day. Now the scope. I start maybe in a slightly unusual way to first talk about what we don't want, to simply focus your mind. Yeah, if you because you might come with expectations. That's where I'm coming from. You might come with expectations. I have a circular solution, and I want to find funding for it. It might work, it might not work. The thing is, we are looking at a horizontal effort, a horizontal solution. So this means what we want is solution agnostic. It is needs to cover all department sectors and value chains. If you're super specialized in construction, that's good. It's maybe part of the solution. Maybe you have learnings which you can pivot on a horizontal level, and then feel free to provide. But if your ambition is to say, I have a construction solution and I want to optimize it, then unfortunately, this is not the right call for you. Nevertheless, I believe it's interesting because your solution should ultimately be reflected on the platform. Now, we want to achieve impacts, large impacts. Yeah? We want to basically do the 80% first. We have lots of municipal staff, which is currently not able for various reasons to act circular. We want to empower these people to act circular. So first and foremost, our strategies come to create the big chunk of the success. It is not first about the final few percent in food waste recycling, let's say. Yeah, this will come at some point, and there are programs for it, joint partnerships and so on. But again, this project is not for that. Your approach should also consider anyone, yeah, whether they have experience in circularity or not. Which this implies that the simple things are sometimes easier. Yeah, we want that the solutions you are thinking about are those many people can apply. We need and require circular economy expertise. I say this because ChatGPT appeared suddenly, yeah, after we written the proposal, and suddenly everybody knows what this is, and that's good. It's good for us. We're happy about that. But anybody who's used it will know that for specialized stuff, it's not suitable. So whilst you could use the model to do it in a specialized field, which is welcome, it does not mean that you can simply come with some random AI and apply it to our solution. This will not work. We will pay attention to circular economy expertise present in the consortium and able to kind of impact on the models behind the AI. And we want that you have a long-term vision. That's very important for us. You know, the solution, we don't expect that your solution is immediately able to supply hundreds of cities or something like that, but the architecture should be scalable, and you have a vision on how you can support cities to transition to circularity long-term. So this is not a call like some grants in Horizon Europe where you do an action just to check whether something works or not, and then you leave it and maybe take bits of it. No, the effort here should be to truly develop a product which afterwards exists. Who are the user groups for you? Maybe sometimes it helps to imagine who the future users are. Yeah. So basically, there are 3 user groups, 3 core user groups, and some of them are experts. They know a lot about circularity, and some know nothing or a lot. We don't know. And the user groups are called, and this might change, the following. Experts are so-called intermediaries. These are the people reflected in the consortium already, if you want. They can go to one department and the other and talk about circularity and kind of make the mind jumps of what could be applied and used and so on, and to simply drive this effort strategically. And then there are the people who are in silos. Yeah, they are a local business. They are the municipal staff responsible for something, certain things, for good reason in their organization, and they want to do their things right. Here, the point is, some of them might have already circular economy expertise, some might not. But ultimately, what they want to see is what is relevant for them, not anything. Yeah. What, in terms of timeline, yeah, if you want, if the platform comes to a city, your solution comes to my city, and you're going to implement an instance for me, what happens? So in the beginning, there's a setup phase. Yeah, so you come to me, we set up the instance for my city, obviously user creation, blah blah blah. But the critical part is that you are able to take my documents for my city, my strategies I already have, the policies I already conduct, because we're not starting at a blank page. Every city starts at a different level, and you're able to push it through the engine to create a circular mission. Kind of the steps, maybe directly drawn from the strategy or developed through some context of what to do over the, I don't know, 10 years, the next 10 coming years. This is obviously not only done by the machine. Experts are involved from your side as well as from the city side. The intermediaries are with it and say, yeah, that's we can do this. We have capacity for that, and so on and so on. You're kind of setting the pathway for some duration through that. And then comes the daily effort. I'm now no longer a city. I'm the municipal user. I'm some department, and I want to do stuff. So you provide me with the necessary tools so that I can do it. And this happens on individual level. The mission is on city level, divided by departments maybe, and then there's obviously the single user who uses stuff. Now, again, a message of what we don't want is that this entire sustainability debate is often linked to the word procurement, in that if we buy right, then we automatically sustainable. It doesn't make sense in the context of circular economy. Yeah, because we saw earlier the strategies. A good part of the strategy basically does not want to procure. Yeah, is how to avoid procurement. So the major work of circular economy happens to a good degree before that, and then at some point comes the procurement. So what we do not want is a procurement software. There are very specialized softwares for this already on the market. They are embedded in legal national context. You cannot replicate it. It's a waste of time to try to do all too much in this regard. What we want is that if something needs to be bought, and this will always happen, that work happened before, that the responsible people in the department have maybe gained some insight on indicators which matter, some tender which happened in some other countries which was good, and are able to provide this information to the procurement department so that they make a better tender from it. If your solution is able to interact with through an API with the procurement software, that's welcome, but it's not the core. Yeah? The main point is really a horizontal activity managing circular economy efforts. Obviously, this does not end when stuff has been bought. The stuff afterwards also needs to be monitored in a way. Yeah, I mean, first of all, knowledge. Did it work for me? Did it not work for me? Where is my city failing? Where do we need to progress, and so on. And obviously, we want to measure some impact, because impact motivates. Yeah? If you know you've progressed from you avoided 20 tons of waste, then this is something you can put on your sleeve. You can put on as a badge and say, I achieved that. This is good. It is incentivization. It is motivation to do it next time. If there's nothing to gain from it, why should I? As to the desired innovations, yeah, I've been talking about the problems a lot. Obviously, we have been thinking also a little bit on what we believe to need, which is the following. Yeah, linked to the information. Obviously, we desire an AI solution. Yeah, this AI solution is not some random AI. It is an AI which is able to use taxonomies. Taxonomies are means to structure data and information, if you want. Yeah, so that if information is handed on from one system to the other, or to one person to the other, then it knows what was meant by it. And there are multiple taxonomies which are relevant in this context already out there. The most obvious one is CPV codes. The commercial, I don't know anymore what it stands for. How stuff is tendered. Yeah, I'm buying park benches, let's say, so that they can be all found. All park benches tenders can be found. But we will also have to work a little bit together on a CE taxonomy. Yeah? For instance, to classify the R strategies and some other things. The taxonomies are also relevant for you to be able to hand over information from one country to the other. Yeah? Because as we said, we don't only want to stick locally. We want you to be able to communicate, let's say, from Spain to Austria. And if there is something which describes it in both languages already, then your natural language processing engine is better in translating the information accordingly. The AI has two layers, if you want. I mean, the one layer is understanding circular economy as an abstract. Yeah, it's sort of high level. What is a strategy? What are good case studies, and so on. And then it will have a slightly personal component. This will become more obvious in one of the following slides. Then there's organizational issue. For this, we need a platform, basically a website which is capable of structuring this information, making the AI accessible through the front end, and keep the information ready. It's quite straightforward. And then a concept from us is maybe the idea of the circular missions I've already explained, and then the workflows, which is kind of structuring the work, the daily work. To this also more on the, one of the following slides. And ultimately, if all of this technically ready, it's of no use if people don't know what to do with it. So obviously in it, embedded in a modern way, there should be some form of training and education, A, to use the platform, but B, to obviously learn about relevant circular economy practices, let's say, whenever I need them. Yeah, it should be as integrated and as slim as possible to achieve the impact. And this content is widely available, I believe. It just needs to be utilized in a smart way and matched with the information any given user searches. Okay, a few more words on the on the first three blocks. So the first is the AI. Yeah. What kind of data goes into it? We will define this in our specs. The specs are our challenge brief, which will follow in November. Yeah, so all I say will be described in more detail at a later point in time. We are still developing. We are here at the intermediate stage to inform you about the upcoming opportunities, so you can consider it and follow us. And we obviously the web is relevant. Yeah, there are multiple websites we will cite where case studies are available. Yeah, you can read about, I don't know, certain things which have been done. And from this reservoirs, one can draw information to describe something to me, the municipal staff user. There are public tender platforms. They must be public, so hence they're accessible and they use CPV. So you could search for relevant tenders, which are super circular. Challenge here is to identify them to a certain degree. Yeah, so the AI needs to be able to do that. There's statistics and open data which give context. Yeah, I don't know how much food waste there is in any given city, let's say. If there is none, maybe you can estimate it, approximate it through other information. And on each city level, for each city, there might be local information which is relevant. The strategies I already said. But they might also be databases which can be made accessible by the city directly, yeah, for you. Or there might be local open data platforms collecting certain things you can utilize. We'll see. We will model this here in for the few cities, yeah. What are the core features? The taxonomies, utilizing taxonomies is core. It's really core. With this, implied is simply the desire for interoperability. Yeah, we want to structure information in the same way, so that if two people read it, understand the same thing. Otherwise, they can't talk to each other. Natural language processing is obvious. It is basically the ability to translate from one to the other, to read text. But this comes first, to read text, understand text, and make text of it. And obviously intelligence about circular economy. Yeah, and the output has been already mentioned. There is, for instance, the summary of a case. Yeah, I don't know. You always use the same example, so I use it now as well. I am a municipal staff user. I am supposed to ensure that 100 park benches in my city are up to standards, yeah, that they're not broken or whatever. What could I do? I could search for what other cities have done, and I would get a summary through the AI on what I could do. And then I maybe click into separate case studies, what they've done specifically. Maybe some have repaired, maybe some have reused something else. Yeah, I don't know, from a building, or they have procured sustainably. And this all in local language, because I'm a municipal staff. I might not speak English, so I need it in my local language, no matter what it is. And yeah, the output is also some form of indicators in kind of measuring success. We will keep this. I mean, measuring circularity is really mega complex. super mega complex. We will not expect complicated indicators. We will try to do something easy for it. This is work in progress. Regarding the platform, yeah, if you want the front end of the solution. So here, just an example of what an interface could look like. It's just to explain what kind of content we believe is relevant, but not know. Yeah. So there are two access points. One is for cities, one is for local businesses, municipal staff, and then any kind of SMEs, whatever, within the city. And what I see is, first of all, on city level, what's the mission of the city? What are the impacts we desire? And similarly, any business can maybe have different targets. They can set themselves targets and go from it. Maybe it can be divided on department level. Yeah, that there are milestones for a department. I don't know, for construction to achieve 10% of construction waste recycling or something like that. And possible actions, maybe target points, focal points. Yeah, so municipal staff knows this is desired and they can act on it. And then ultimately, on a user level, I'm doing my workflows. I learn about what I need to learn and see what I've done in the past, obviously, as well. Further embedded in all of this is some form of networking element that, I don't know, I am a municipal staff user, can interact with my intermediary, can maybe interact with someone from another city who has done something similar, and also with the local economy. This is relevant because SMEs are A, very weak in answering public tenders, and B, for them to transition, they need to understand what is desired. So the city will also have to do a better job in communicating what is to come. And maybe for this, they need so-called co-creation spaces of some sort. We don't. Yeah. We believe that if you solve the city problem, then you have solved to a large degree the business problem as well. So it's highly replicable. Hence, the focus for you should most likely be first the cities and then see what is useful for the businesses. In fact, yeah, this is the main outcome. First and foremost, that cities are able to act circular. As to the technical requirements, I mean, most of it has already been said. It must be scalable. Yeah. So if you have one city, then it must be installing the next city should be a scale of economies of scale. Yeah. A minimal effort to do another city on technical level, obviously not the city mission level. This is always a new effort. It will run in the cloud. Whether we use city servers or not, will require city servers or not, we don't know. But modern protocols can cope with that. It should be modular. It's important that I don't know. Let's say this co-creation element, yeah, kind of this feature of the co-creation, that it can be modular, activated for a city or not by design, because we want you to be able to customize the solution for any given city, A, and B, we want you to be able to further at a later stage develop plugins on demand and be paid for it. Future demands will evolve, and the concept of innovation procurement does not stop with this project. It can progress, and then there might be few cities who come together and say, we need this, we are willing to spend money on this, and you would be able then to develop it accordingly and get subscription fees, etc., etc. Interoperability is key. Yeah, so whatever you design, it should be able to share data outwards and accept data inwards without much hassle. This including baseline fundamental systems cities use, yeah, like ERPs and so on. This should be considered. And multi-language support has been already stated. As to the workflow, so my day-to-day activity, which kind of is derived from the circular economy mission, which gives me perspective, gives me a vision point, a North Star. So I'm a municipal staff user. I need to do something. My first step will be, I've never done it before. Yeah, my first step will be I search. So I will visit your platform. I will search for something to get inspiration on what I could do. Yeah, and then the system gives me, let's say, a bunch of case studies, what other cities have done or has been documented in some form or way. And ideally, this already is a first filtering step on providing me with relevant information, which means the system takes into account the city mission, my expertise. Yeah, do I know nothing about circularity or do I know a lot? And hence maybe enriches the case studies or leaves some out. Both is possible in any combination or constellation. The concept behind that is personal AI, yeah, that it is able to not only always provide the same answer, but is able to provide an answer which is relevant for me. And from that, let's say I selected a case study, or I don't know yet what to select as a case study, but say I want to act on this, and I want to act, then the system would generate a workflow for me, which is basically a succession of steps. And maybe the first step is to decide which R strategy I want to follow. Yeah, do I want to reduce, or I want to remanufacture or repair, and so on. And maybe for this I need a meeting, or maybe for this I need to have do a checklist. Whatever it is, the workflow basically provides me with these steps. I can go through them, select my best the strategy I want to implement, and follow through to ultimately achieve my result and record my success in a knowledge nugget. Yeah, first, I mean, can be simplistic, but can also sometimes be insightful. Like I struggled at point X, or I was able to do it better than described through Y. And this information towards the end, obviously the system is able to learn from, yeah, that it not only relies on some web information, but over time is kind of internalizing knowledge and to make it better, to make the outcome better. Just to say, when we're talking about this kind of analysis already, this also implies that there is some analysis across the city, let's say, that for instance, an intermediary is notified about the municipal staff struggling at a certain point. Yeah? They seem to, if it's something systematically appears, then it is a sign that something's not right, and maybe you need a meeting for it to explain, or you need a guidance document, whatever. But the system would be able to flag it. I'm too much detail, sorry. Okay, what are the requirements for the workflows? First and foremost, it's clear. The structure must be clear. When I look at it, I must be able to understand it. It cannot be some convoluted 20-page document. I first need to the end to understand what's on the first page. Not only the progress needs, not only the content needs to be clear, but also my status in the workflow must be clear. Yeah, at which stage am I? A workflow should not leave me stranded. Yeah, it cannot be that it provides a step which is a roadblock and it doesn't work anymore. Yeah? So it must be able to kind of solve the problem. If the roadblock would be that I don't know something, then it needs to provide me with a video or some document I can read so I understand something to progress. How you implement it in technical terms or visual, whatever, is up to you. Yeah, we have absolutely agnostic, whether you use some sort of flow, whether you use now prominent on Bing and whatever, the chat function that you do through talking with the bot, some forum list or whatever. You're the designer. You tell us what works for people, yeah? And then we will test it with you. Bear in mind, users are regular municipal staff. Yeah, so some expertise on talking with, working with city administration is probably helpful. Yeah, if it is one person or dedicated partner, it doesn't matter. But if you are only used to geeks and you never saw talk to a person at a desk in a municipal city, in a city administration, then you might get it wrong, you might get it right. Yeah. So better to have some insight. The central message is that we describe the problem. Yeah, we will do our best. We are doing a lot of research in to describe the problem in more detail, and we will describe the what criteria. But you come up with the solution. Yeah? We are giving the framework that something like this is needed. Yeah, let's say the AI. We know something like an AI, but we are technically not capable of saying how exactly or what is best. This is for you then to answer. How will you be informed about this problem? There will be the challenge brief published with the request for tender. It's a self-standard document, highly structured in accordance also with the template you have to fill in your proposal. And it will describe a rationale for anything we need. Where are we coming from? And B, some form of principles we want you to solve. Yeah, we will try to avoid a long list of technical requirements because this kind of narrows the solutions a lot and doesn't give you freedom. We will attempt to write postulate statements which need to be optimized for, you know, like run fast, don't fall. Yeah, you can run super fast and fall all the time. Might be one result, or you can run slow but never fall. It might be a result. Whatever is better to come towards the end. Yeah. This also implies that as long as you fit within our requirements, the scope of solutions is large. Yeah, we do not have something in our mind. We do not see it yet. And it's important. We only know roughly what we want, and it is up to you to fill the canvas. If there are any questions regarding the challenge at this point, feel free to already ask. We can also do it at the Q&A later. Otherwise, I would present the instrument in more detail. Okay, right now you can only chat. I didn't say it explicitly before. It was only on a slide. At the Q&A after this section, we will open the mics and you can just talk. If it is easier for you, that's fine. So the tender process. First and foremost, maybe the difference or the difference between our procurement and traditional procurement. Yeah, we are buying as a group. You already saw it. There are multiple cities buying something. This is normally not the standard. It's often only one customer. It doesn't really matter that we are many. It is our problem, our organizational problem within. For you, there will be one face to the client, to the supplier, if you want. Yeah, there will be one lead procurer with whom you sign the contracts. It doesn't change much for you, only that you have the opportunity to talk to multiple customers at the same time. We want innovation. Yeah, normally procurement does not want much innovation. It just takes stuff off the shelf. It doesn't mean that all of the stuff you do must be new. By far not. We expect that, for instance, platforms, they are out there for a long time. Yeah, I mean, they cannot technologically evolve dramatically. Let's put it this way. But you would take something which is there and customize it for our purpose, and that's innovation as well, because our innovation, our problem is a horizontal problem, which means it's a very procedural problem, and making something fit for our process is an innovation in our view. We are prototyping, yeah. So our expectation is also it might work, it might not work, and if it doesn't work, then it can be improved, and not that it's ready on the first day. No, it's competitive, so it means multiple suppliers will get the chance to work on it, not only one supplier. New IPR is generated, definitely, because a new product, yeah, it doesn't exist, so new IPR is generated. I mean, I already mentioned it before. Normally, this is not possible, but through the legal framework for the PCPs, you could keep your IPR on that, yeah, because we are not state aid for some reasons, and we can directly support you in doing innovation. Yeah, and we have multiple stages, which is more obvious on the next slide, which we are now right now in phase 0. Yeah, we are still developing the specs, the tender, which will be released, and then you have 3 months to respond with your offer, and we will select probably, don't know yet exactly, 6 suppliers for the first phase. 6 suppliers will get the funding according to the financial offer, which has a ceiling of 144,000, if I remember correct. This number might change, and we pick the best. And from on the 6, they need to provide us with some deliverables. If we say they're good, yeah, then they are eligible to compete for the next phase. And we will select the best 4 to basically give them over 500,000 to develop prototypes. And from these, similar story, we will select probably 2 to run the platform for the cities. During this phase, we will expect prototypes, yeah, towards the end, fully functional prototypes. And in this stage, you're rolling out. And rolling out means that you then create a CE mission for the cities, that you have everything ready for all the users in the cities, and so on and so on. So the stage approached in, it's a stage approach. An important message is that we have chosen our lead procurers so that the VAT, no VAT will be relevant. The numbers you see is basically what you get. This is not yet 100% confirmed, I must say, but we believe this will be the case. Now, who's eligible? Any kind of operator can bid. It can be single, it can be joint tenders, subcontractors, whatever. There's only one big limitation aside of selection criteria to come, is that 50% of the budget needs to be spent within the EU or associated countries. This matters only if you're not. Yeah, if you're not in the EU or associated country, then it is something you need to worry about. Otherwise, it is not. If you have a US partner, you can do, it's fine. Just pay attention that they don't spend more than 49.x% of the budget. Whether you view the recording or participate, it doesn't matter. You're eligible to bid. Submissions will be via email. You will have 3 months, most likely starting in November, to bid. Everything will be in English, and the IPR has been already stated. Now the proposal is over. You've won. Yeah, you're one of the suppliers who joined the first phase. And how does it work? Your contract, you sign a contract with the lead procurer, and you sign a framework contract with the lead procurer across all 3 phases, regulating what happens. And for each phase, a so-called specific contract, which is very slim, very minimal, and basically only states which deliverables are due for which price over a given period. All the templates will be shared with the request for tender. Yeah, I mean, you can look at our old projects. It will not change dramatically. During the project, during each phase, there will be monitoring. So we will obviously meet with you, and you will have opportunity to ask us. We don't know how we should do it. What do you think? And we can tell you, we've looked at what you showed us. It's very good, but maybe you can improve that, and so on. It is some form of interaction to progress. Then there are so-called completion criteria. This is, again, it's not a grant. Yeah, it's not a Horizon project. It's a tender. And in the tender, as long as you provide results which are good, yeah, you will be paid. Yeah, you have then satisfactorily completed the phase. You've done your work. However, since it's competitive and we want to progress, we expect evolution. And this means to be eligible for the next phase, you need to become successful. Yeah, not only do the bare minimum, but you really showed us that you progressed with your innovation and achieved the targets for the given phase. And on the IPR, by design, during the offer, you will basically state this kind of IPR is mine, and it remains yours, provided you act on it. Yeah. So the requirement is typically that 4 years after at the latest 4 years after the end of the project, you have a commercial product ready. If you don't, then this IPR falls over to the procurers, and they can do with it whatever they want. A second requirement is that during this meantime period, you will grant access to the cities, to the procurers to use your IPR. Yeah. So you cannot lock them out after they've invested 5 million for you. I think this is more than fair. And with that, we are at the Q&A. Yeah, thank you, Tatjana. Microphones are on. You can just raise your hand or speak up. There's more than enough time to progress. After the Q&A, there will be still the next steps. Please be reminded. You just need to unmute yourself. I mean, we could put on your mic, but we cannot unmute yourself. So if you try to speak, yeah. Carl, please.
Hello. Thank you for this very clear explanation. I have a question whether this group of cities are somehow already linked to an existing European program, like there's the Circular Cities and Regions Initiative. There's other groups, ACR Plus, which bring together cities. Is this group part of one of these existing groups or platforms? Yes. And will the project also be connected to one of those platforms? Thank you.
Yep. It is in CCRI. I think 2 or 3 cities are present, and the other one I'm not entirely sure. I know we are currently in the process of being listed in the public buyers platform from the European Commission, and we will definitely communicate our results on this platform and talk to the other cities. PCP is quite challenging. The first 10 months of the project are super dense, and we try to get on board as many other cities as we want to become preferred partners. This comes on the next slide. And obviously, during the project, we will talk about the solutions we see to the other cities, and we will reach out to these networks you mentioned and present there. Yes, we will do that. And obviously, we are also happy if these networks give us the blessing to conduct the, not to conduct the tender, but basically maybe register as a preferred partner, so that we know the suppliers know this project is also backed by CCRI, etc.
Thank you.
Yeah, some of you might have already attended one of the national OMCs. If there are no more questions, I will progress, but feel free to, if you think of something in between, it's question time from now onwards. Yeah, so just ask. Okay, then next steps. Next steps are for the project as a whole. Yeah. We are now finishing the OMCs, only one more OMC to happen next week in Sweden. We have the matchmaking platform online, and will conduct networking events in September or October. Most likely there will be for suppliers, relevant for suppliers, two kind of levels. One is about the issue of taxonomy, standardization, and so on, because we want the best to be involved, so including those who might not bid. And obviously we will have a networking event to support you in creating your consortia. I know this is a difficult task, but we will help there as much as we can. Ongoing is a procurer survey. So if you are a city in a network or whatever, link comes in a second, you can tell us what's on your mind. And for the cities, we will have a preferred partner event together with ICLAI in September. The dates aren't set yet. The dates will follow. Now, preparatory stuff, phase 0. Now we are entering phase 1, the tender. Provided everything goes smoothly, the European Commission likes our challenge brief, etc., the tender will go out on the 1st of November, and then we will obviously have a launch event and we have training events in beginning during November. Launch event means we will describe the latest version or the final version of the request for tender and the challenge brief. And then there will be dedicated events, at least two, one for the technical offer and one for the administrative financial offer, to explain how to do an application well. Some of you might never have tendered before. Yes, there are some forms to fill, but they're not rocket science. The key challenge will be to write the technical tender, and for this we also structure well. But I don't want to go into much for that because I can't show you yet. It will come at this tender launch event and at this training event. Questions, if you have any, you can check our FAQ, which is the fundamentals. But if others evolve, you can always ask us, and we will then, with some short delay, answer via our website, because it is a public consultation, it is a public tender. So obviously we are communicating to everybody and sharing with everybody. Then we need some time to evaluate your offer, and then phase 1 starts, phase 2, and so on. If you see the timings, there is typically also a small gap in between, simply due to reporting and the reporting required and our assessment of the next phase offer. Matchmaking. So provided you are a supplier, my recommendation is very strongly to invest another few minutes after you left or right now to visit our website and the matchmaking platform, so that you enter that you are interested, so that we can inform you. And depending on the role you seek, state that as well. On this platform, we try to collect all those who are interested and publicly interested, and some of you might be willing to act as coordinator and build a consortium. Some of you might be willing to be picked up for a consortium. This website should help with that. Obviously, whilst you search for partners, you should not limit yourself to whatever is on the website. You can call IBM, Google, whatever, if you think they're helpful, or any specialized CE expert, which might be just a one-man show somewhere, who's super good and has been consulting cities for the last 20 years. We have no opinion on what a consortium constitutes, provided the skills are reflected within it. And as I mentioned before, during September, October, there will be also some support in building your consortium. If you are a city or some other form of organization which is basically representing the demand side, those who need the tool, two things. First, you can answer our survey, and second, you can become a preferred partner or follower. This is very informal. Basically, tell us you're interested. We would put you on our website and then invite you to an event, which is to follow in September, to give you a little bit more insight on how we are progressing and the results we have generated. And yeah, we aim or hope that it will be also possible that you will be able to test the solution during the project in phase 3. How exactly this works and will work out is something we are considering right now. And a reminder, if you haven't subscribed to the newsletter yet or some other form, please do. So even if you're not convinced today, it might change because, I don't know, you learned something in between. We have said something, or phrased something in a better way so that it convinces you. Let's keep the link. I check the chat. Tatjana, thank you. Are there any other questions? Maybe I jump back one moment. What is missing here is that at some point in summer, I mean, we have a pitch deck. Right now, the pitch deck is not as good as this presentation, actually. There will be an update of the pitch deck at some point if you want information, and we will begin to slowly explain the concepts we have already, the conclusions we already arrived at. Yeah, I mean, obviously, we will not be able to publish the specs before the tender is launched, but if something has been fixed in the consortium, then we will begin to share. So hence, again, the motivation to follow us. If this is that, then I don't want to keep you. I wish you a good day, a good summer, and hopefully we see each other again in autumn, late summer, early autumn, and be great to work together. Thank you very much. Have a good day.